Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, sir, for your time and your stamina. Grid security is national security. If the lights go out, everything else follows. Public safety, hospitals, manufacturing, water systems, our military readiness. Cyber threats are real and growing, but they are only a part of the risk. A fragile grid is an easy target, whether the threat is digital, physical, or policy-driven. In Michigan, we are seeing what happens when ideology outruns reality. Last year, the Department of Energy was forced to issue Section 202C emergency order to keep the J.H. Campbell coal plant online. That plant was scheduled to close under Michigan's rush to meet politically driven net zero mandate. DOE stepped in because closing it would have threatened grid reliability for millions of people across MISO region. Let's be clear about what that means. The federal government had to declare an emergency to keep the power on in Michigan. That's not a success story for energy policy. That's a warning sign. Governor Whitmer's Green New Deal mandates are forcing reliable base load generation off the grid while championing unreliable intermittent sources. As a result, MISO is operating dangerously thin reserve margins. When reserves are tight, operators have fewer options. That makes the grid more vulnerable to extreme weather, cyber attacks, and cascading failures. You cannot secure a grid that you have intentionally weakened. Energy security requires an all-of-the-above approach, and we must ensure it's a strategy that actually works. We should be adding reliability before subtracting it. Instead, Michigan families and manufacturers are paying the price for policies that look good from university ivory towers but fail in the real world. Mr. Fitzsimmons, the department's Section 202C order cites NERC's reliability assessment warning that the MISO region faced elevated risk of operating reserve shortfalls, particularly among peak demand, and that the retirement of dispatchable thermal generation increased that risk. Is it true that the planned shutdown of J.H. Campbell coal plant, driven by Michigan's net zero mandate under Governor Gretchen Whitmer, was a factor that forced DOE to declare this emergency?
Thank you for your question and your leadership on this issue. I think you nailed the crux of the issue, which is, on day one, President Trump declared a national energy emergency. As I mentioned before, that declaration has been validated by the nonpartisan grid operator, NERC. As you mentioned, they have called the current situation created by the disastrous energy subtraction policies of the previous administration a five-alarm fire for the grid, and that is because anytime you prematurely close reliable dispatchable generation and do not replace it adequately with reliable dispatchable generation, you will see shrinking reserve margin, growing resource adequacy challenges at a time when we are trying to build the infrastructure that we need to meet future load growth and win the AI race and onshore manufacturing. So it makes absolutely no sense that you would subtract reliable, some of the most valuable electricity that we have is that which the grid operators can accredit to meet peak demand, because that is what the system is built for, to meet peak demand in the summer or the winter time.
That's exactly right. We all want clean air and clean water. We all want safety, but we also need affordability. We also need advancement, and making sure that we're operating in the realm of reality are essential to doing so. Last questions, Mr. Fitzsimmons, again. DOE extending this emergency order because MISO continues to operate with dangerously thin reserve margins, limiting flexibility during extreme weather or cyber attack. From a grid reliability standpoint, grid security standpoint, do these net zero agenda items, prioritizing the shutdown of thermal baseload power, directly increase the likelihood of future emergencies that make grid more vulnerable to cyber attacks and physical threats?
I would say absolutely. If you are prematurely retiring reliable dispatchable generation and you're not replacing it with reliable and dispatchable generation, the net result of that will be a weakened energy system and higher costs for the American people.
Thank you. We want affordability and we want reliability as well. Thank you for your time, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thank you. The gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady, the at-large member from North Dakota, for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I'm so excited I got here for that great exchange, because that is exactly the reason why I ran for Congress, was because of my concern over what Representative James just outlined, this 5-alarm fire that we have in our country.